Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of dismal Disney. This is really interesting. So, we had the big shocker over the weekend that Disney swapped the Bobs. They swapped Bob Chapek for Bob Iger again. And now there's word that the reason Disney potentially did this was for Bob Iger to come in and prep Disney for sale to Apple.
Yes, we heard that rumor before about Disney selling to Apple. And a few years ago, I didn't think, I honestly didn't think that was the case. But their stock is showing that probably, is the way to go at this point.
Yeah, and, Apple is going to be looking for content. Obviously, I could see Apple Plus and, Disney Plus working really well together. And, let's remember.
Don't change the little swirl on the eye on Disney to the Apple.
Oh my God, they would. Let's not forget that not too long ago, Disney bought Pixar, and Apple CEO, Steve Jobs came on board. So they do have a long-standing relationship with Apple, especially Bob Iger, who was, I believe, on the board for Apple Plus too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had to remove himself for conflict of interest because, I think Apple Plus had the name Apple Plus first, and then he announced it was Disney Plus, but he was on the board, and people called that out that, hey, you're conflict of interest here.
Yeah, so this all starts to kind of snap into place if that is what is actually going on. Again, this has been rumored for a while, but having Bob Iger back, why would you bring this guy back in? Because the end game for Disney isn't really to find a path forward. The end game is to sell Disney off to Apple and let them deal with it, right? Possibly.
Yeah, if true.
If true. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over, where are we at? 281,000 subs.
Woo-hoo!
Thank you so much for the support. We do talk a lot about Disney, having worked in and around the company for a number of years. We do know people at the Walt Disney Company, various capacities. Go out to piratesandprincesses.net for objective Disney news. And this is surprising, but not surprising.
Yeah, and I also make it clear that it's a maybe, possibly maybe. It's a maybe thing. They're not even saying it's what's happening for sure.
No, but it has been rumored for a while, and there is, a history between Disney and Apple via the Pixar connection. So the Wrap has it. Why Bob Iger's ultimate power move may be selling Disney to Apple. An industry insider says this is the pinnacle deal for the ultimate deal maker. And they said that, Bob Iger has regained the keys to the Magic Kingdom less than 3 years after his successor, Bob Chapek, took over. Insiders suspect they know how the beloved executive will find a new way to go out on top during his final 2-year stint.
Mm-hmm. It is weird. 2 years, you're here 2 years. You can't pick anybody else. It has to be you.
Yep. He's going to sell the company. One Disney insider who has worked for Iger predicted, this is the pinnacle deal for the ultimate deal maker. Landing a deal with Apple, or some say another mega buyer, would also cement Iger's legacy.
God, he's so obsessed with legacy.
I think he'd welcome it. He'd be the last CEO of Disney. A former top Disney executive told The Wrap.
Basically, he's arrogant, and you're going to play the hubris of him and Disney.
Yeah. Noting the two companies have similar brand identities and could benefit from the merger. They actually could. I mean, I'm going to be honest. If one company made sense to buy Disney, it would be Apple, given the shared history, given, just kind of their image, their brand. I could see Apple doing it.
This is hard for me to wrap my head around. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Acquisitions are in Iger's DNA. Under Iger's leadership, Disney went on a nearly $100 billion shopping spree to buy animation giant Pixar in 2006, superhero juggernaut Marvel in 2009, Star Wars in 2012, and 21st Century Fox in 2019. But there was one acquisition he's publicly lamented as a transformational deal that got away. A combination with Apple.
I want to point out real quick that he spent nearly $100 billion on a shopping spree, and of those things listed, over $70 billion of that money went to the Fox deal.
Yes.
Which he massively overspent on, and it was a really stupid idea.
And the Fox deal is the least valuable of all those IPs. And beyond that, Rupert Murdoch basically started over. So they didn't take a competitor off the table. They basically went to a yard sale, way overpaid for all the shit at the yard sale, and Rupert Murdoch is now starting new companies, Tubi and Fox Studio, the animation, and
then Comcast bid them up, and then they walked away without having to pay it and ran Disney out of money.
Yep. So in his autobiography, The Ride of a Lifetime, Iger wrote the chapters about his friendship with Steve Jobs. He and his wife Willow Bay were close friends with Steve and Laureen Powell Jobs, even spending holidays together and vacationing in Hawaii.
Oh my.
He even writes about standing in front of Steve Jobs' grave when the tech visionary's wife uttered, "I asked him if we could trust you," and Steve said, "I love that guy." Ask George Lucas how that went.
Yeah.
Iger responds, the feeling was mutual. Yes, there are caveats. Chief among them is that Jobs died in 2011, and Disney is a big pill to swallow with a $180 billion market valuation that would easily soar to a $200 billion premium if the studio were to be acquired. That'd probably be the biggest. Would that be the biggest acquisition in entertainment history?
I don't know, but it'd be up there. And, I'm sure the shareholders would love to see that happen because they'd make, money. Well, I don't know. Would they?
I don't know.
Would that hurt them? Like, would they lose? Because, like we saw with, Twitter, everybody got bought out.
Yeah, so a deal that size is likely to draw antitrust resistance at a moment when regulators have stepped up efforts to block other proposed mega deals like Simon & Schuster.
Yes.
They had to scrap the sale, and I think they still had to pay a $200 million kill fee or something like that for it. And they're talking about Microsoft and Blizzard. Now, here's where it gets interesting, though. Apple CEO Tim Cook, known to be a safe player with relatively few acquisitions under his leadership, might have given Wall Street a big hint in April. During a call with investors, Cook said he would not rule out acquiring a large company and that the main drive was to secure strong intellectual property and big names. Hello, Disney. We are always looking at companies to buy. We acquire a lot of smaller companies and will continue to do that for IP and to incorporate talent. We don't discount something larger if the opportunity presents itself. I'm not going to go through my list with you on this call, but we're always looking.
Yeah, but that could apply. To be fair, that could apply to a lot of things. I mean, let's be fair.
It could. It could be that they're like, oh shit, this company is headed for an iceberg. Quick, call Bob Iger. It's Plan 9. Plan 9 from outer space is to call Bob Iger and sell the company off to Apple.
But at that point, Bob Iger wasn't there, so.
No, but it might have been that this whole thing was being kind of kicked around or was kicked around before the pandemic.
The rumor's been going on for years before the pandemic, yes. There's been this rumor, and rumors usually come from a kernel of truth somewhere.
They said Apple, has streaming hits now like Ted Lasso. They said, even as borrowing costs get more expensive with rising interest rates, Apple has $48 billion in cash. Flushing that out to both cash and investments, the total surges to about $200 billion. That's 7.4% of all the mad money held by every member of the broad Standard & Poor's 500 index. Basically, Apple has a shit ton of money. They very easily could purchase Disney if they wanted to. Apple shares have skyrocketed since Iger and Jobs first did business together. Disney bought the Jobs-run Pixar in 2006 for $7.4 billion, and now they just relegated it to direct to streaming.
Yep.
Spent all that money direct to streaming, which put the animation studio CEO on the entertainment company's 10-member board. Apple's trading at $150. Disney is at $96, down 6% during the same period. Rep for Disney had no comment, and Apple rep did not respond. But basically, they've got Disney insiders coming to them, people that have worked with Bob Iger, saying this has been talked about.
Well, we know it has been talked about because, like I said, the rumor was out there. It's been out there for a while. It was out there when he was in charge last time. So it's not so far-fetched to believe that it's still in play or could be in play. But it's also that's a big jump.
How do you win the streaming war? If you've already hit like 200 and some million subs, I mean, there really isn't anywhere else to go. But if you had Disney content on Apple devices and you merged Apple Plus and Disney Plus, and we see all these streaming services emerging.
What would you call that?
Dizapple.
Dizapple plus plus.
Dizapple plus plus. Mm-hmm. That's it. Dizapple plus plus. I don't know, guys. I mean, at first I was kind of like, I don't know about that. But, Disney's not in the same place it was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 years ago, no. I wouldn't have believed that because their stock, even before the pandemic, their stock was really going up and up and up and up. So I didn't think they would do that. But, it's kind of going down. They're desperate enough to bring Iger back to try to save it.
Yeah, and it might just be that this is the Hail Mary pass. Basically, at this point, he goes out on a high note. Disney gets sent packing, but then I'm like, does Apple really have interest in theme parks. You know, I don't know. But then Comcast has Universal, so
that's true. I don't know. I don't know what I think about this. I think there's gonna be a lot of speculation, but we're not really gonna know.
No, but you know, if the Wrap is running with it and it's on Pro,
it is interesting that's on the Wrap Pro.
Yeah, this isn't like some random YouTubers like, hey guys, my insider, my alleged Disney insider came to me with a hot tip. This is like somebody that actually worked with Bob Iger.
They wouldn't run it unless they really thought that had some merit.
Right. So while we're talking about it, you know, rumors that he might bring back Blue Sky. I'm like, they disbanded the whole company, didn't they? I mean, what do they have left? I mean, I do think that Bob Iger thinks a hell of a lot more of animation than Chapek does. So it's possible, but it's also like, how many animation studios do they need realistically? Because you know, it seems like they're consolidating things. Pixar again's been relegated to direct to streaming, and that same thing would happen with Blue Sky too. They just relegated to direct to streaming or something, you know. So I don't know, but we're gonna keep an eye on this situation. Very interesting to have the Wrap of all places come out and say this is what they think is happening. Gonna wrap it up.
It is interesting, yes.
Yeah. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.